Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. If you just bear with me, I will share my screen. Great. So thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I am delighted to welcome this session on maximising value through regenerative agriculture and traceability with Regenagri and Haelixa. Joining me today is Haelixa, who is a speaker and standards manager at Regenagri, and Letizia Scopoletti, who is the partnerships manager at Haelixa. I am a researcher and writer, delighted to be hosting this conversation. And today we're going to be diving into the brilliant collaboration between Regenagri and Haelixa. So to get us started, just some housekeeping. The conversation will be about 30 minutes, followed by a 15 minutes Q&A. So we'd love for you to pop your questions into the chat box now, and we will get to those at the end of the session. And yeah, we'd love for this to be super interactive. It's going to be PowerPoint light as well. So to get us kicked off, let's dive in. Haelixa, would you be able to speak to us about Regenagri's mission and regenerative agriculture practices in general? We know that there is a big thing at the moment within the industry, especially textiles and apparel companies are wanting to learn more. So please tell us more.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Amy, for giving me the talk. So at Regenagri, our mission was is very simple, and has been always very simple, but very powerful. So our mission is to secure the health of the land and to the wealth of those who live on it. So we work very closely with farmers, with supply chains, and also with brands recently to make really sure that the regenerative agriculture is both credible and practical. So that said, our goals are really to make sure by implementing of our standards, of our models, to increase the soil health, to increase the biodiversity and diversity, to help reducing the GHG emissions, also to improve water efficiency, water quality, to help and to bolster energy management to become more sustainable, and all these hand in hand to support farmers sustain their lives and also to meet their household needs. So basically, over the past few years, so we can move to the next slide in order to present some outcome from the last year. So over the past few years, we've grown significantly. As you can see on this slide, we currently have over 5 million acres now. Sorry, can you return to the...
Sorry, here we go. There we go.
Yes, so over 5 million acres now, together with more than 300,000 farms certified under our Regenagri program. And also, as you can see on this slide, as I already mentioned, we work from farm to finished products. Currently, our standards are applicable to very big range of crops like coffee, cotton. The tea sector is growing very quickly as in the last year. We also have some certified cocoa, grains, nuts, and many other crops because our standards are very comprehensive, covering really significant range of different crops. So what makes Regenagri model unique? We can go to the next slide. Our program is unique because we don't really just talk about regeneration, we measure it. So our standards and methodology, as already said and mentioned, is covering farms and going through the last supply chain actor. They're designed in a way to really quantify real impact. This could be related to soil health, water efficiency and quality, biodiversity, or even carbon outcomes. But also the system, our system is built not only to deliver verified data. This data could be impact data coming from our continuous improvement requirements, but also verified data related to soil, water, G&G, biodiversity, etc. But also on the other hand, to really ensure the certified materials integrity. So this is currently done through our transaction system, which is the traceability system used to really ensure the transparency, integrity of the certified materials and to ensure the verified data. However, we have made the next step, adding foundation that is bolstering, making extra layer of credibility, verification, and secure. So that said, yeah, I think actually this is really what our model is about. So
Okay, that's great. And thank you so much for sharing a little bit more about the foundations of Regenagri. I'd be really interested in your thoughts as well in what was missing from the market that pushed you to design a traceability system that's agnostic yet rooted in regenerative standards.
So if you look at the sustainability landscape, the challenge isn't that there are no or there aren't enough standards. There are many standards at the market at the moment. It's about most of the systems still cannot really guarantee where a product is really coming from as a single location of origin. So it was detected that in 2021 that about 60% of the claims made by EU fashion companies have been deemed to be unsubstantiated and also misleading. And this is mostly because they were not becoming from a third-party verification. So these statistics only tells us something very important. Brands want to do better. They need to do it better, but they need also a system behind them to provide physical proof of single location of origin and also to provide extra layer of guarantee of integrity and of extra secure. So at Regenagri, we saw that as an opportunity to take our robust certification model, to make it stronger, by providing additional double secure, to make sure that the regenerative claims are not just documented, but forensically verifiable. And that's what led to creation of this Regenagri traceability program, which will be the focus of this webinar today. And really allowing or giving brands and suppliers and supply chains an additional layer of confidence on top of the already trusted and existing system that we provide in our modules and programs.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Violet. And now moving on, I would love to talk a little bit more about Haelixa. So Letizia, can you explain how Haelixa works in simple words? Tell us a little bit more about DNA and how DNA is applied to fibers and how it gets verified later in the supply chain.
So hello, everybody. Thank you, Amy, and thank you, Ivaila, for the introduction. I will try to keep it easy. So Haelixa is offering a physical traceability solution based on DNA from fiber to finished garment. And when I say DNA, I actually mean natural DNA that is applied, as you can see, in a liquid form directly on the raw fiber. So what we do for each of our customer is that we create a unique DNA sequence that correspond to the raw material specific origin. So as you can understand, we are able in this way to add the additional layer of credibility that Ivaila was talking about. So the DNA is delivered in a liquid form, and once it's sprayed on the raw material, it resists all the textile processing. So maybe we can move to the next slide to see the process visualization. So as you see, we have cotton, and in the ginning stage, we start marking. And from that moment on, we can verify on the yarn, on the fabric, and on the final garment. And the type of testing that we do is a very simple lab test that is called qPCR testing. Maybe all of you, probably all of you, are familiar with the COVID test, and the type of test that we do is very similar to that one. And once we do the testing, and we identify the correct DNA that is linked to the specific origin, we can say and we can certify. So we issue a certificate that says that the raw material used is the authentic and real one, the one that is claimed. So.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much for walking us through that so clearly. And it's great to see the video and see it come to life as well. I would love to talk a little bit more about supplier impact and thinking about, also, actually, I've skipped a question. I would love to talk about traceability in practice and program design. So looking at this in reality. Evaila, could you give us insight into what makes the Regenagri traceability program unique and how it ensures authenticity across certified and non-certified supply chains?
So our new built Regenagri traceability program is powered by Haelixa solutions. So it's designed to really ensure, as Leticia already said, it's really designed to ensure the Regenagri certified materials are really physically traced from the farm to the final product and vice versa, adding what we call forensic level of verification. So it's built to be inclusive, meaning that it can be applied across different materials and across different processing setups. But every product which is entering the system must be sourced from Regenagri certified farms. This is the basic requirement of this traceability system. What is making it unique is that it's really adding a double layer of assurance. So this is what we actually aim to really provide verifiable proof. We already have documentation-based traceability through this transaction certificate system with random physical inspections, of course. And now by adding this traceability program powered by Haelixa, we want to really have this program based on physical marker that verifies identity throughout the chain, that gives chains an opportunity to demonstrate transparency, integrity, without creating so much silos or complexity. So by asking me who can join, it's very nicely presented in the next slide. Everybody can join. So it could be primary processor like Ginners, it could be manufacturers, it could be even brand owners who are seeking to secure their products claims, certification claims, or even secure the transparency. The only one important condition that is worth it to be mentioned here is that the technology applies to Regenagri certified materials without any blending with non-certified materials.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And then looking a little bit at the implementation process and what this means for brands and suppliers, I'd love to hear a little bit more about how it's integrated for businesses, what extra tools, machines, or training that they might need, and how seamless it is. Could you walk me through this a little bit?
So with regards to trainings, I'm sure that our team, in collaboration with Haelixa teams, are always open to support with any trainings or even physical visitations if this is really required. We are open to support anybody who is really interested in implementing this program or the requirements, and for sure to make sure that these processes are very smooth without any unnecessary burden on for anybody or any operational aspects. So the process is very easy. So starting with application form submission that should be submitted to Regenagri, our team is reviewing, approving, and registering the applicant once confirmed, of course, that the technology could be applied to the product. We register this applicant to our database created by Regenagri. So the next step will be the marking, which will be audited. It's not really audit like we know the definition for audit is different. We just need to the spraying or the marking to be witnessed by a qualified or approved auditor by Regenagri. The spraying is happening only at junior level, so nobody in the rest of the supply chain actors will be really involved in this process. So once the marker is applied, then all the work is complete, I would say. So the only one step after it is the third one, which is sample verification. Whenever there are samples to be selected, this could be done by either the manufacturer, the supplier themselves, or the supply chain actor involved in sampling selection. They are submitted to an authorized testing facility or a lab approved by Regenagri and Haelixa. So after the report of the testing is complete, the report is provided to Regenagri, who is issuing this traceability assurance certificate, of course, if the report is showing matching. So if there is a mismatch, obviously we are not really issuing this transaction traceability assurance certificate. So we, of course, we will investigate some root causes of why there is a mismatch, etc., etc. But I won't put some focus on such scenarios.
Yeah, we'll keep
So
positive.
maybe I can add something about the integration from my Haelixa perspective. So you see, there are just 3 steps, and the additional step is the marking that is really easy to integrate and is integrated just at the ginning level. And as you saw in the video, the only tool that is required is a spraying system. And what usually happens is that in ginning facility, there are already a spraying system into place that can be adapted after verification, so they can be used for the marking, or Haelixa itself can provide its own sprayer. And also, as Ivaila said, the training, it doesn't require a lot of effort. We usually provide online training for the marking remotely, and of course, if needed, we can support also in the location. And of course, after marking from the ginning stage on, nothing else is required.
Okay,
For
perfect.
yeah,
Thank you
nothing.
so much for explaining and making that so clear. I would love to take a look at integrity and compliance. I know that's probably a top of mind for a lot of companies on this call today. So together, how do Regenagri and Haelixa prevent fiber blending, substitution, or adulteration? I know this, we've covered it slightly, but if you have anything else that you'd like to add, feel free to speak to that.
Yeah, I think at this point is already quite clear. So with the forensic verification, with the physical traceability, we are adding the additional layer of security. So imagine that all the transaction certificate are actually linked to the real raw material that is moving in the supply chain. So I also would like to say that this system doesn't have to be seen as a system in which we're looking for mistakes and people to blame, but it's really a tool, a system that wants to help manufacturers, brand, supplier to see if there are mismatches in risky supply chain and act to improve and address the problem that may come up. Because as we know, supply chains can be very complex, so it's good to have this additional visibility.
Yeah, and also what I can add with regards to what we provide to the market currently. So next to the certified materials, products, which is coming with these transaction certificates by resecuring through this forensic verification layer that we are trying to add through this traceability program, we are also allowing to secure the claims that they are making. This could be not only product claims, but also with this changing of the regulations. Everybody is looking after making some environmental claims, impact claims, which are also double secure by adding this extra layer of verification. So I'm pretty sure that we are all interested in also double securing these environmental claims that we provide.
Okay, thank you both for that. Now, moving on, I'd love to talk about business value. How does this system support brands with regulatory compliance, especially in the EU, when we think about CSRD, CS-DDD, and various due diligence laws? I'd love to get your thoughts on that.
So I can take this one, and it's pretty clear by now, so that with forensic supply chain traceability, you are preventing from material substitution in the supply chain. You're protecting the authenticity of premium fibers. But on top of that, for sure, there is also an additional advantage when it comes to regulation. You probably heard that the European Commission recently announced that to be able to sell in the European market, products are required to be traceable to their origin. And so with physical traceability, we really support on this point. For example, with European Green Claim directives, companies are required to have substantiated claims using robust and science-based methods, and physical traceability DNA markers are approved for these purposes. And the same is in the US with the UFLPA. So the DNA markers are accepted by the US authorities to prove that materials do not come from the Xinjiang region. And of course, I really see physical traceability as a way, as a sort of insurance to protect the bottom line. So, of course, if you're able to prove the origin with a scientific-based method, you will avoid legal disputes and reputational risk. You will prevent false product claims, and for sure, this adds an extra level of credibility to certification like Regenagri.
Okay.
And
Okay, great.
another big topic is also the one related to the fines that brands can face if they're not compliant with the regulations. So both from a financial perspective, but also from personal criminal liability that brands can occur in the case there is not a specific way, a scientific way to prove claims or supply chain origin.
Okay, great. Thank you, Letizia. And speaking of the business value as well, when we're trying to make the case to ExCo members and CFOs who obviously have their number hats on, could you tell me a little bit about the ROI case for investing in traceability from your perspective?
So, as I already said, I see physical traceability as an insurance against scandals. And of course, all these regulations that are coming from Europe, from the US, they come also with risk related to fines. And we estimated that a brand with 5 billion in revenue could face a scandal. If it faces a scandal, the financial loss would be around 4 million euros. And this doesn't even consider the reputational damage. So all the effort that will be required to build the brand image again. So for a small price, it's possible to prevent big costs that can come from scandals or product recalls, for example.
Okay, perfect. And we've spoken quite a lot about risk in this conversation as well. I'd love to get your thoughts, penultimate question before we dive into Q&A, Letizia and Valia. Why do you think traceability is no longer optional but critical for brands today? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
I really think that the turning point has already happened. So traceability use for something progressive. Brands are always talking that actually it's something nowadays. It's something that every brand is expected to deliver. Actually, so there are two, three probably reasons behind why it's really critical and no longer optional. So there are a few reasons for that. And the first, of course, is the regulations that are coming in force that are getting tighten and expectations as well. The second one probably will be the consumers that are much more informed now. They don't really want another sustainability promise. They want evidence, they want proof. And the third will be, of course, the risk. One gap in the traceability can expose a company to massive financial and reputational damage. So traceability has evolved from being a sustainability feature to become a business necessity, I would say, even. So it's the foundation that is really for credibility, for compliance, for brand protection as well. With Regenagri, we've made the transition already. We wanted to make this transition easier by offering a system that's already verified, that's scalable, and also ready to meet all these expectations, basically.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then I have a final question for you, Letizia. Thinking about Haelixa, an important consideration for many businesses when looking at this model and integrating is if they can see it scaling. So would you be able to tell us a little bit more about that and Haelixa's plans?
Yeah, it seems like when it comes to physical traceability, this is a concern that a lot of brands or manufacturer may have. But as we already show and explain, the integration is really easy. So again, it is just needed one tool, that is the sprayer. The DNA is highly adaptable. So we can imagine to create an infinitive number of different DNA sequences for each location. And also we have to consider that the DNA that we apply, it's highly concentrated. So you don't have to imagine that you will use thousands of liters of DNA. The DNA is then diluted and then it's sprayed, and this makes the process scalable and easy again to integrate.
Great, thank you so much. And I know that future proofing and scalability is often top of mind, so that's really helpful. We have a number of questions, so just a reminder to our audience, you've got the next 15 minutes to test our speakers on all of your queries. So I'll get started, but please pop any more into the chat at the bottom of your screens. An anonymous attendee has asked, Ivana, this is for you, does Regenagri have limitations on chemicals that are used through the supply chain, from the farming to ensure organic farming through the supply chain?
So basically all the regenerative fiber that is to be traced using this DNA traced solution, so it should be 100% sourced from Regenagri certified farms. So because the spraying will take place or the marking will take place at general level, so it will mean that 100% of the fibers should be Regenagri certified fibers without mixing of any non-certified materials.
Okay, great. And then there are a few questions about Haelixa DNA. So Letizia, how do you see Haelixa DNA application at farm level for organic certified cotton?
So the application is at farm level is something that is possible because again, it's really just spraying on the raw material. But of course, this would come with a bit higher costs compared to spraying at the ginning level. But it's something that we are able to do. And we could do it together with Regenagri, but we really need to adapt to the specific process.
Okay, great. And then I also have another question from Naomi, who says, as someone as a brand, how would we request the DNA traceability when we do not directly work with ginners? We would usually only work at fabric mill level maximum, so would need to ensure that it follows our current supply chain. Is it supported by Regenagri?
Yeah, that's the great thing, that even they are not really sourcing directly or having a contact with the ginner or with the mills. It's required by Regenagri that even at brand level, the last supplier within the supply chain, this will be the manufacturer, the garment manufacturer, must be certified for our standards. So this will mean that we will know by our current traceability system who they are sourcing from through these transaction certificates. So we will achieve also the spraying to take place at the right place at the right gene level. If this is not already certified supply chain, our basic requirement is the ginner to be certified. So again, we will need the same transaction certificate system in order to prove that even with no fully certified supply chain, we will have the traceability back to the ginner level, to the farm level as well. So the traceability is the very first and basic step up towards this traceability program to be achieved and implemented as well.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that. And someone, an anonymous attendee, has asked, does the DNA application affect the fiber quality?
Absolutely not. It doesn't modify the quality because, as I said, DNA is natural. Also, the DNA that we use as a natural origin, it comes from Swiss herbs. And the technology that we use to make the DNA stables is really not harmful. Is also approved for food. It's approved for food traceability, so potentially could be drinked by us, and it would not affect us. And the same is for textiles. So we really work with premium fibers, cashmere, wool, and they keep their original quality. So that wouldn't be a problem.
Okay, great. Thanks for that. And we have a question. This is from earlier on in the conversation from Jorge. I think it was when we were learning a little bit more about Regenagri certified materials. He said, is it possible to know the percentage of regenerative fiber included on the end product? Or is it just possible to know that the fiber is included as a yes or no?
So yeah, I can answer this. So since we are marking at the ginning level, so at the ginning level, it means it's going to be 100% regenerative, Regenagri cotton. If this regenerative cotton is then blended with something else, we're able to see the percentage, and this percentage are not exact, so go from 10 to 10. So we can see 10%, 20%, 30%, 50%. So this is the level of precision that we can have when it comes to blendings.
Okay, great. And then another question someone has is around the case with crops other than cotton, which might go through multiple processing steps. Do you guys have any thoughts on that one?
So other crops, you mean like other fibers that could be
I think
hemp, for example? Yeah, we at our solution, our traceability solution works with natural fibers, any kind of natural fibers, recycled fibers, man-made fibers. So the advantage of DNA is really the versatility of the solution and of the application. So it would be possible with any kind of fiber.
okay, great.
Yeah. And what I can add also about the traceability program, because I think that this question was more related to some food crops, other materials that are not really textile related. So we are seeking to open the program for other crops as well. However, as a start, we need to first confirm the technology and the solution that is suitable for that specific crop. So any requests for adding this extra layer for securing the claims, the materials, and etc. must be approved prior joining the program by Regenagri. Basically, this is the approach that we have undertaken so far.
Okay, great. And then someone has a question, another question about the DNA. So would it be possible to eliminate or degrade the DNA of germs through washing?
Of course, we tested. Our solution is already used by brands, and we see that the DNA survived the textile processing, so bleaching and all the textile processing cannot destroy the DNA. So washing wouldn't be a problem. It's
Okay.
not a problem.
Okay, great. And a nice question that's just popped up as well related to that is like how long the DNA lasts in the fiber. Obviously, we're seeing lots of fibers being recycled as well. So would it still have the DNA after the recycling process?
So what happens with recycling is that, so there are two types of recycling, thermochemical recycling. So in the case, there are very high temperatures, over 200 degrees, the DNA gets destroyed. But for example, in the case of mechanical recycling, the DNA survives, but since we're mixing together many different post-consumer waste or industrial waste coming from different areas of the world, potentially, the amount of DNA that we will have in the final blending, in the final shredded material after mechanical recycling would be undetectable. So we would need to mark it again.
Okay,
If
brilliant.
this is the question,
Yeah,
this answered the question. So I don't know what's the purpose of the question. So
I think it was just to understand if the DNA stays on like after the textile's been recycled, like the fiber.
for example, in mechanical recycling, if we have a bench that is marked with the same DNA, in that case, we have a high amount of DNA and the DNA will survive and we are able to see it.
Okay, brilliant. We've got 5 minutes left. I just have actually one question. We've seen a boom in brands wanting to incorporate regenerative fibers into their material baskets, and there's been a lot of talk about regenerative agriculture and projects more broadly. How can we use tools and traceability programs like the one that you both spoke about to support regenerative claims and ensure there's no greenwashing? Love to get your thoughts on that.
Leticia, do you want to start or you prefer me to?
I can just say that it's quite clear. So at this point, as we said, we have the Regenagri standard that is proved by by the DNA by the forensic test. So all the claims that you will have at the end are verified by science. So in this way, you really ensure that there is no greenwashing because the regenerative claim that you may have on the label is actually proved by, in addition, also by the physical traceability system.
So in my perspective, what I can say and what we are trying to achieve really at Regenagri is really to provide this complex tool for all the supply chains, for all interested parties, basically, to become, to help them to have a way, one unique way of securing their business, manage their risks, to build long-term value for their businesses as well. So adding this forensic level of verification is not just good for the sustainability. We don't see it only this way. We see it as a good option for businesses, resilience, for securing their reputation, and basically as a boostering the support that we provide to all interested parties for, making it better, basically.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And in our final few minutes, I'd love to just have a closing line from you both about what excites you most about this program and this collaboration and how it can help the industry.
So for sure, to conclude, I would like to thank you, Regenagri, to giving us the chance to be part of the Regenagri Traceability program, because I believe that in this way we can really bring an additional value to the standard. And I see this program as a tool, as we said before, to bring transparency, but also empower farmers that are putting their efforts in regenerative agriculture. So I think that in this way we are even supporting all those farmers that are doing the hard work to prove the authenticity of their fiber and ensure that it's not exchanged with something that is maybe not regenerative at all, or just something else that is cheaper. So I really see the power of the program, and we are happy to collaborate with the Regenagri team.
Yeah, from our perspective, we are also very happy to collaborate with Haelixa and to really be able to provide this very nice opportunity for our existing clients and maybe from some prospective clients as well. And also, how I see it is that really this is some sort of sharing confidence that regenerative agriculture and all the practices, all the efforts is not only happening, but also it's real, it's measurable, and also it's verifiable, because we all seek for some proofs and something in writing, something like more objective evidence. We like to use these kind of words. So this is what Regenagri stands for, actually. So we want to have credibility rooted in regeneration. That's all.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for those final thoughts. So over the last 45 minutes, we've covered so many bases, diving into the details of the traceability program, looking at the positive impact it can have for suppliers and brands, diving into the specificities of the verification progress and implementing it into the supply chain. I'm personally very excited to see where this goes and how it's applied by brands and manufacturers. As our time is up, I want to extend our thanks to the audience for joining us and for your engagement and questions. A special thank you to Letizia and Avila too for walking us through everything so clearly. For anyone that has any further questions, the details of the team are on the slide here. I know that the Regenagri and Haelixa teams will also be on the ground in Lisbon for the Textile Exchange Conference happening very, very soon. So I think you can scan the QR code and book in some time to speak with them. And as a reminder, this conversation and recording will be available for you and distributed via email. So thank you all so much for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the amazing conversation.